Have been getting lost in the streets of Venice, and we have kind of meandered our way from quiet little deserted piers and courtyards to the beating heart of Venice, St. Mark's Square.
We're starting our morning in the most beautiful bookshop in the entire world.
So you can't come to Venice and not do the absolutely most cliche thing, which is
Obviously a gondola ride.
after spending the past 3 days exploring Florence, we hopped on the train and made the speedy 2.5-hour journey to Venice.
Venice is a city that needs no introduction. Its maze-like network of canals has been attracting visitors from all over the world for hundreds of years.
It's the perfect city to put away the map and simply get lost, and that's exactly how we spent the morning.
After a few hours of wandering, we had worked up an appetite and decided to stop for some lunch. So it's about 1 o'clock, so we definitely needed to find some food, and throughout Venice you'll find, I hope I'm gonna say this right, conchetti. It's kind of like a tapas where it's a lot of PC small things and you just kind of like pick and choose and you get to try a bunch of stuff, which is great. So we came down to Osteria Al Squero. Again, probably butchered that. And this place is really cool because it's actually right across from where they make the gondolas, which is just so fascinating. So definitely very Venice vibes here.
Alright guys, so we have been getting lost in the streets of Venice, and we have kind of meandered our way from quiet little deserted piers and courtyards to the beating heart of Venice, St. Mark's Square, named for the St. Mark's Basilica behind me, which has been here since the 12th century. This is pretty much where all the tourists congregate, so if you come to St. Mark's Square, expect to be joined by a lot of other people. If you do want to see St. Mark's Basilica or the Doge's Palace, also expect to line up a lot. We decided that we didn't want to go through the lines this time, so we're just going to admire them from the outside because Venice is basically just an open-air museum.
For some of the best views in Venice, be sure to check out Fondaco. It's a department store with an amazing rooftop terrace. Entry is free, but you have to pre-book your time slot and you only get 15 minutes, so make sure to make the most of it.
Right around the corner from the department store with the beautiful terrace is this little place called We Love Italy. It's just a little hole in the wall takeout pasta place. They got pasta dishes starting at about €6, which for Venice is super cheap. So if you're looking for a spot to go for supper after, come here.
Unfortunately, day one in Venice is coming to an end for us because it is absolutely pouring out there. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it's just raining cats and dogs. And it's kind of bittersweet because obviously we want to keep exploring Venice, but we get to go check out our accommodation for the first time. I don't know if you've noticed that we've been lugging around all of our backpacks all day, like our actual travel ones. So the reason why we haven't seen it yet is because it's not actually on the main island of Venice. It's on its own island. And if this is sounding rather posh, it's because it is. And Sean and I are budget travelers, so this is a little bit higher standard than what we're used to. We're making a full separate video all about it just because it's so mind-blowing to us that we have a nice accommodation for once. So you'll have to check that out, but I'm kind of excited to see what it's gonna be like.
Good morning guys, welcome to day 2 here in Venice. So we had intended to get here a lot earlier this morning, but unfortunately our private shuttle from the hotel only starts running at 9 o'clock, so unfortunately instead of beating the crowds, we joined them.
Yeah, by the time we got here, the crowds were here as well, but we're starting our morning in the most beautiful bookshop in the entire world. When Sean started looking at things to do in Venice, he's like, hey, I found a place that has books, cats, and vintage postcards, and I was like, sold, let's go.
So we are at Libreria Acqua Alta. Acqua Alta actually means high water, and reason for that is that this bookshop, like much of Venice, is prone to flooding.
Yeah, so when you come here, you'll see books in like old gondolas and bathtubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically whatever they can to keep the books from getting damaged. They also use old books as like walls to like stop the flooding.
So it's really cool. It's functional, but it's also just beautiful, and you'll see like staircases made out of books. So it's just a gorgeous place to walk around and wander. And I picked up my postcards, so we're all good here, I guess.
So So you can't come to Venice and not do the absolutely most cliche thing, which is...
Obviously a gondola ride, so we're gonna go find one that we can do. It's a set price of €80. Unless you go in the sunset, then it's 100.
And you only get to do it for 30 minutes, which obviously that sounds pretty steep, but I mean...
It's like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you
Yeah.
have to do it when you're here, so we're definitely okay to spend the price.
So we just finished up our gondola ride, and the 30 minutes definitely goes quick.
But it was absolutely amazing, and our gondolier Ricardo was so cool, and he kept just telling us about like the history of Venice and the gondola and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought he was joking at first when he said it was literally his first day, but apparently he was telling the truth.
But it was cool. He was saying that his father was a gondolier for, I think he said like 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years. So the like licenses are such a big thing here, and like they can be passed down through generations, so which is really cool. It's like it's like a family business kind of.
Yeah, and he was saying that he was like training for 5 years, and then his dad was showing him kind of like how to do the gondola, and they did it together for a bit, and now as of today he's off on his own. The gondola was definitely pretty expensive, but it was such a cool experience.
Yeah, honestly guys, if you're on the fence about it, just do it.
Just do it, and like you only have to do it once. It's such a cool like while you're in Venice experience, and if you never come back, at least you have that memory.
We're now gonna go try and find some wine and charcuterie to take back to the hotel.
Yeah, our hotel is on its own separate island, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and we really want to explore it, but everything there is insanely expensive.
Yeah, that's the problem when you book on points at a hotel that's
Way out of our price range.
Yeah, they're like, oh, do you want to pay €10 for a water? No, not really.
So we're gonna do that, kind of do a cheap and cheerful dinner, but also like just really cute and fun. That wraps up our time in Venice. We're currently on the boat taxi to the airport.
Yeah, I mean, when in Venice, you can't get a bus, right? You gotta actually get a boat.
But we intended to come back and do some more exploring this morning, but once again, weather has not been on our side.
No, it's been raining all morning, so we figured we'll just hang out at the hotel, you know, take it easy this morning, and then just hop on the boat and head to the airport.
Yeah, so thanks for following along with us on this trip. Make sure to follow along for our next trip.
And we'll see you guys next time.